Hi everyone, this is Rico with A Zone Defense, and what you've been waiting for is I have one of the new Gen 6 from Glock Perfection. Now, we all know in the Glock community that a lot of people have been waiting to get their hands on one of these. However, we know that a couple months ago that Glock launched the Gen V as in Victor, and they call it their baseline model. I'm still unclear what that means, baseline model, okay? A little bit less than the Gen 6, but we have all those other previous gens. I still love my tried and true Gen 3, which to me is the benchmark of Glock as a baseline, okay? I think the Gen 3s have been sold by populace more than any other generations to date. And for your YouTubers out there, no mag, empty Glock. Okay, so we're good to go. Now, how to get my hands on one of these? Well, let me tell you. Glock announced that on January 20th, their distributors were okay to start selling the new Gen 6. However, a lot of the mom and pop retail stores and FFL dealers were not able to get their hands on one because their distributors just didn't have them. The initial Gen 6 are made in Austria, not in USA. And so the first batch went out to the larger retail chains like Sportsman's, okay? So I pre-ordered this. By the time I got to the store to pick this up, this was the last one. I mean, they did not have any displays at the counter. They were all sold out, okay? I believe Glock only released the 19, the 45, and the 17, and which, are the three most popular tried and true. Hopefully they'll come out with the, 43X next. I'm told they're working on that. If you're in California, unfortunately, Glock says they have no plans to give any new releases to California to make the roster. All right, so let's look at this. I just got this. We'll unbox it. You get your typical hard plastic case, which is good. I'm okay with that. Some manufacturers give you their cardboard case. I prefer plastic hard. Inside the case, well, real quick, before I get to the gun, you're going to get your typical owner's manual in this white sealed envelope as usual. You're going to get, your Glock rod for cleaning, and cable lock. It has the nylon brush there for cleaning as well, okay? Now, because the Gen 6 are optic ready, which is great, you're going to get some mounting plates, 3 to be exact, right, with the little Allen wrench tool. Now, they include the QR code, so that way you'll know which plate to use for which optic you're going to be using, whether it's going to be Holosun, Leopold, what else? EOTech, Vortex. So all the main ones, you're good to go. Okay. Now, what's also great is you're going to get not the normal 2 mags. You're going to get an additional 3rd mag, and you're going to get the standard, mag assist loader. Okay. So let's clear this firearm. Empty mag. There's the 3rd mag, and nothing in the chamber. Okay. Now let's talk about this new Gen 6 model. From tip to butt, you're going to get the rounded, typical bull nose, which came out in later gens, on the slide, and you're going to get that cheap plastic white dot and a cheap plastic, bucket, for the rear. But since these are optic ready, most people are running optic nowadays. you're probably not going to worry about those sights. But if you're like me, you still like your nice iron sights, especially having a nice high vis or a tritium night sight, yeah, you're going to want to change that right out of the box. You're going to have your front and rear slide serrations. Now, they don't go over the top like a lot of the manufacturers have been doing, but they're a little bit deeper, okay? So I do like that. And your typical Glock, rail single slot under the hood. Now, what I do love is the thumb rest that has a stippling, and they are index points, and they don't interfere with your existing G19 holsters. Still works. I do like they included all the extended controls, and meaning you have your slide stop that's extended, which is your takedown. Your slide release is ambi, and those are extended as well. And you have a little more protruding ridge underneath. Okay, now you also have your flat face trigger, which is new, so you get a better trigger system. And you have your Glock safety trigger as well. Now the trigger guard has undercut and is a high up deep undercut, so you can be able to get a nice purchase on this firearm. The best thing I do like about this new Gen 6, besides it being optic ready, is the stippling. They call this the RTF6 new grip. I don't know what that RTF6 means, but it feels really good. I don't have to worry about putting Talon grips or paying for stippling or trying to Mickey Mouse it on my own. I do like the Talon grips. I have this in all my other Glocks, and this one here is pretty worn out, and I added the extended controls as typical. You don't need that on this Glock here. Even the mag release button is, sticks out more and comes over a little more. So I like that a lot better, especially because I have shorter thumbs. Okay. Now, the speaking of the stippling, the grip is not just a brick anymore. It is ergonomic. It goes from a width of like 1.2 inches and fans out to a maximum width of 1.35 inches down to a little bit of a flared mag well, which is great for CCW, or if you want to run this as a great range gun. Here's my extended flared mag well, which will print if you're carrying it. But so I do like this a lot better, actually. Along with the enlarged beavertail, you can tell they really protruded that a lot. Looks kind of funky, but it works. Here's the Gen 3 for comparison. So you can tell that it's a huge, huge difference. I do like this beavertail. What I don't like about this as a con, even there's pros and cons. The pro is that you have interchangeable back straps. Not really, okay? So they give you 2 extra back straps, but they're not interchangeable. Okay, what I mean by that, you cannot take off the back strap that's on here. So that means you can only add to the girth by putting a back strap on. So they give you a pin pusher tool, and you push out the pin, put in the wider, more girthier back strap, and you take the longer pin that they give you and you press that in there with your pin tool, and voila. Okay, so it adds to the girth, but the problem is that you see it leaves a lip. So to me, that kind of bugs me. Now for me, I'm going to leave this along as is, because I do, the problems I had with Glocks in the past, they were just too fat and bricky. But this actually has better ergonomics in general with the palm swell and the mag flare, um, and it does feel better, a little bit smaller, and I like that. So I'm just going to leave it alone, and I'm not even going to bother putting the Talon grips on it because I love this stippling. It feels really grippy. Okay, what else I can tell you about this? The barrel, the 4-inch or 4 point, like over 2 inches is what it is. Let's see here. I think I mentioned everything I can pretty much think of. It does have a single capture spring. The weight on this is 22 ounces without a loaded magazine, which is about 1.4 pounds. It feels a lot lighter than my Gen 3 Glock. Now my Gen 3 does have a weapon mount light, but this feels a lot heavier than this off the bat for some reason. I don't think my light weighs that much, but so this feels lighter. I don't know what the original measurements or weight is on the Gen 3, but I think that's it. There you have it. The price points on these, MSRP is $745, which you're probably going to buy these at MSRP or close to MSRP because they're so new out there. I'm sure you get some people that are marking them up. However, the going rate on these is about $620, at the big box chain. So, if you can get one, pre-order one, that's probably the price you should pay on these. These are great guns. I haven't shot this yet, so we'll watch out for that next. Overall, I can't think of anything else other than I do like it. Is it better than what's out there for this price point? That's a personal preference. I've been partial lately to the Springfield Armory Echelons. It just gives you so much more at that same price point. But anyways, I won't go there. You're either going to be a Glock fanboy or not. I love Glocks for their reliability. I own a bunch, but I tell you, I'm going to be selling off my previous gens and just keep this G19 Gen 6. I love my G20 10 millimeter. I'm going to keep that until they upgrade that to a Gen 6. My G43X, I love that. Hopefully they'll upgrade that to the Gen 6. Can't wait that comes out. So there are some things. I think this line is worth upgrading from the previous lines, if that makes sense. Okay, so anyways, hang tight, stay safe. Hoping this unboxing and quick review works for you. The trigger, there it is. Very tactile, very loud and audible. Let's see what the reset is. So I think that's a good short reset. Not much travel. All right. Let's see how much travel forward that is. Okay, reset. So it, rear brake. Now let's look at the standard Gen 3. I did no trigger work on this at all. Maybe a tad more forward travel. The rear brake is about the same. I think really and this has obviously been broken in. I got literally tens of thousands of rounds through this. But I think the only difference on the trigger is that one being flat faced and the other one not. But take care, guys. I don't want to keep this video too long, but I know you've been waiting to see. So I'm one of the first lucky ones to get the batch. Anyways, hope you get yours, and I will talk to you later. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.